You know, in the spiritual history of Thailand, there are some stories that are just so incredible, they really make you question what's possible. We're about to dive into the story of a monk whose influence was so powerful it seemed to just defy the laws of nature, even decades after he had passed away.
Now, to really understand the legend of Luang Pho Phum, we're not going to start at the beginning of his life. Oh no. We're starting with a completely impossible event that happened a full 28 years after he was gone. It's what really cemented his legacy.
Okay, just picture this for a second. You've got a giant pot of liquid brass, heated to over 900 degrees Celsius. That's over 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit. And suddenly, it explodes. What do you think happens to the person standing right next to it? I mean, logic says the result would be absolutely devastating. But in this story, logic just didn't seem to apply.
All right, let's set the scene. The date is December 30th, 1973. We're at Wat Bang Khlo Nok, a temple in Bangkok, just packed with people who've all gathered for a really important event.
You can just feel the reverence in the air, you know? Chanting everywhere. They're in the middle of a huge ceremony to cast a brand new statue of the temple's most respected former abbot. It's a huge tribute to his memory.
And then it all happens in an instant. The head craftsman, Samang Kamanarom, he's directing his team to lift this massive crucible out of the furnace when a deafening explosion just rips through the air. The container cracks open, and Samang gets showered in that searing liquid brass, all over his head, his back, his chest.
After that blast, there's this stunned silence. Everyone is expecting the absolute worst. But Samang, he's just standing there. Shocked, for sure, but totally fine. Not a single burn mark on him, nothing. He was completely untouched by the molten metal. The people who saw it could only call it one thing: a miracle.
So how is this possible? Well, this incredible event points to the power of the very man whose statue they were casting, Luang Pho Phum Chanthochoti. It made everyone ask the same question: who was this monk, whose spiritual protection was so strong it could reach across time and perform a miracle like that?
To answer that, we've got to go back in time. We need to explore the life of the man who would become one of the most respected spiritual masters of his day.
His life was a path of incredible devotion from the very beginning. He was born back in 1856, and by the age of just 12, he was already a novice monk. At 20, he was fully ordained as Chanthochoti. His entire life's work really led up to him becoming the abbot of Wat Bang Khlo Nok, a position he held for almost 30 years until he passed away at the ripe old age of 89.
From his earliest days as a monk, Chanthochoti wasn't just, going through the motions. He was driven. He had this deep fascination with the spiritual and the mystical, and he poured all his energy into the intense practice of Vipassanā meditation, always trying to reach a higher level of consciousness. And when you have that kind of focus, word gets around. His reputation for being a master of meditation and spiritual arts started to spread, and it eventually reached the most powerful people in all of Thai society.
I mean, to really get a sense of his influence, just look at who was coming to him for guidance. We're talking royalty, a son of King Rama IV. Even the Supreme Patriarch of Thailand, the head of the entire clergy, respected him. And maybe the biggest tell of all? Future legendary monks came to him as students. They knew he was the real deal.
But his fame wasn't just about his wisdom. People came to him to be healed. And his method was just so simple, it was almost mysterious. He was famous for being able to cure sickness and break curses with, believe it or not, nothing more than a single sacred staff.
But maybe the most telling story about his influence comes from a totally unlikely source. It's a story that proves his spiritual authority went way beyond the temple walls and even into the criminal underworld.
Back in those days, there was this infamous, really feared outlaw named Suatai. He was a wanted man, always on the run. But this hardened criminal, he held one person in absolute, total reverence: Luang Pho Phum. So, when Luang Pho Phum passed away, the police knew one thing for sure. They knew that Suatai's respect for this monk was so deep that he would risk everything, absolutely everything, to be at that funeral. So, they surrounded Wat Bang Khlo Nok, just waiting to catch the country's most wanted man. It's an incredible image, right? An outlaw willing to walk straight into a police trap just for one last chance to honor his spiritual master.
All of this deep respect and incredible power, it all comes back to one place, the temple that was the center of his world, where his spirit is still felt so strongly today. So, for anyone who really wants to connect with the story of Luang Pho Phum, Wat Bang Khlo Nok is the place you have to go. It's way more than just a temple. It's like a living museum to his entire life and his incredible influence.
And when you go inside, you can feel that legacy everywhere. You can see the very same statue from that miraculous day back in 1973. There's a museum with his personal belongings, and the temple's sacred chedi, or stupa, actually holds his ashes. It's a place where generations of followers can still come and pay their respects.
So the story of Luang Pho Phum really leaves us with this big question. Was that explosion just some freak accident, or was it a true miracle, proof that spiritual power can actually transcend life itself? His story kind of challenges all of us to think about the incredible power of belief and the legacy that one single devoted life can leave behind.